I started blowing glass in 1986 when I was an undergraduate at Washington University. It was this amazing material. It was very difficult to work with. There were no rules, there was no book. You know, you just had to practice, and I got sort of obsessed with it. I'm Jim McKelvey. I'm the co-founder of Square and the co-founder of Third Degree Glass Factory. I was trying to sell a piece of glass to a lady who only had an American Express card, which I can't take at my studio, so I lost that sale. And that afternoon I was holding in my hand, you know, an iPhone, and I looked, I was like, you know, this device in my hand could have saved that sale if we'd only had this system. And that was the inception of Square. At the beginning, we really didn't know what we had. It wasn't a case where we said, oh, well, you know, this is going to change the world. We built something that was initially, you know, sufficient to meet my need. And then we kept listening to other people who were using it and taking in that feedback. And as Square has grown, we've now got over 500 employees. 10 years ago, when I was very active in St. Louis, there wasn't much going on, frankly. Up until 5 years ago, back in the time when, you know, Jack and I were starting Square, we tried to build, you know, part of the company in St. Louis, but we weren't able to do something. We weren't able to do enough. The ecosystem just wasn't right. There wasn't enough, you know, weren't enough investors, weren't enough, you know, talented programmers. The ecosystem hadn't evolved. When I moved back to St. Louis in 2010, I ended up with this sort of epiphany that St. Louis could be re-energized. And I started to meet people who, you know, had the same vision. We've had a tremendous surge of talent and just energy. And it turned out that, you know, it just needed a little bit of time for the ecosystem to catch up. I work now with a couple of companies that, you know, they're sort of past the startup stage, but if they had moved out to Silicon Valley, they would have been dead. You know, St. Louis 100 years ago was the innovation capital of the country. You know, so a lot of that entrepreneurship, you know, existed once in the town. It gets diluted over the generations. Like if you inherit money, it's very hard to risk it. Like the idea, most of the people that I know that have inherited money, their idea is just don't screw it up. Like don't be the generation that blows it, right? So those people don't take very good risks. One of the things that's happened in St. Louis is we're starting to create some new fortunes. Well, if you've made the money yourself, you're certainly willing to roll the dice and, you know, invest in some other stuff. So we're seeing that wheel start spinning, and that's been super helpful. The innovation is, I think, driven by, you know, mid-market companies, companies that have, you know, established products and you know, some good ideas, but they're still small enough to innovate and move. Best two pieces of advice are don't look for opportunity, look for problems. The thing I like about solving problems and focusing on problems as the core of the business is that they're easy to see. Like you know if you're doing the right thing. So the second piece of advice is to build it without asking for permission. If you ask for permission, if the idea is really good and you have to get permission from somebody, you're probably not going to build anything really magnificent. These days it's so easy to build products, you know, contract manufacturing, CAD/CAM, you know, 3D printers. You know, there's tremendous potential that wasn't available even, you know, 5 years ago. So you can build it, don't have to explain it.